we get into the dailies?
Yep.
Okay, let's get right into the dailies, and we have quite a lot of newspapers to go through. The Daily Graphic has these headlines. It says, VAT pilot records 58% increase in revenue. Okay, so that's interesting because yesterday...
No, last 2 days.
Last 2 days,
Yeah.
okay, 2 days ago, there was a story that said that the revenue was low, people were not paying and everything else. But now this one gives us an update and says that there's actually an increase of 58% in revenue. Okay, which is which? Well, the Mirror gears up to celebrate mothers. Cocoa countries oxygen. This is Mr. Boahinedu, Joseph Boahinedu, saying that Ghana's cocoa is our oxygen. Okay, well, it means that we may easily be on life support if we don't deal with.
If we don't get it right on that sector.
Yeah. And the big one here on the front page of the Daily Graphic says men account for 60% of deaths. Blood pressure, heart failure, stroke to blame. Now, there's a whole report that has been put out, and I'll read the story a little later. Okay, so that's the headlines for you.
All right. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we have security heads inspect new forward operating base at Sandema. Kole Klote delegations gains waste management expertise in Moscow training. Leverage digital tech in to combat corruption, and that's by the Vice President Baumia. And redevelopment of Kofrom Market. 3 million Ghana cedis missing from project fund. KMA members provoked demand probe.
Wow. All right. The Chronicle has these headlines. Baumia stops 550 million Ghana cedi revenue leakage at ECG. IT staff arrested for suspected sabotage. Wow. Tonto Chrome reiterates calls for community mining scheme. Ghana security capos towards Sandema FOB. We have the scripture for today on the front page of the Chronicle. It says, Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 11. Because the sentence against an evil deed is not executed speedily, the heart of the children of man is set fully to do evil. This has been my guiding scripture when it comes to the way we lead in Africa. Okay, and the explanation for a lot of the lapses. We don't punish.
Yes.
We don't make it painful to do the wrong thing. And when we punish, we only punish the people we don't like.
It's selective.
When somebody who we like does wrong, we don't punish the person.
True.
That's our problem. That's the scripture for you. Thank you, Chronicle, for this scripture today.
All right. On the front page of the Daily Guide, we have over 2,000 registered babies fatherless. And the report is there on page 3. 2,000 babies. NDC goons fired shots at Peace Council. EC bounces NDC BVR request. Security chiefs visit troops in Sandema. Baumia eyes blockchain to fight corruption.
All right. We have the Finder newspaper, and it says here on the front page of the Finder, Juniper calls for increased forest finance at UN Forum. Forward operating base in Sandema, vital in fight against terrorism. Security heads are speaking here. EC, NDC clash over BVR kit serial numbers. We also have, we will adopt blockchain for data security and detect corruption. Dr. Baumia speaking there.
All right, on the front page of the Republic Press, we have NDC, EC lock horns again over BVR kit serial numbers. My government will pay allowances to chiefs, and that's by Vice President Baumia. And
allowances?
Yes.
To chiefs?
To chiefs. There are so many promises lately. Like this whole week, there's been a lot of promises. So.
Came promise?
Yeah. Akosombo Market fire. Ampemnyako supports victims and Ashanti region. 3 arrested for disrupting ongoing limited voter registration at Tepa. And towards food sufficiency, we are on track sufficient. And that's by the Greek minister. And Akufo-Addo faces inner conflict over SML report release as chief director's letter causes stir.
All right, the informer. Chief support Baumia described him as humble, respectful, and intelligent. We have EC allays fears. This is regarding the limited voter registration exercise. Promises to extend 21-day process. Towards curbing terrorism, national security pledges support for military, commissions forward operating base. We also have Honest Okujeto defends Cecilia Dapa, insults Ghanaians as dishonest people, but Domelevo disagrees. Vested lands, government to address challenges, land minister assures. Mahama accuses Akufo-Addo of bad governance, corruption, and others. And there's another story here called the Africa Prosperity Dialogues 2025, Game-Changing Infrastructure Investment Focus.
All right, so on the front page of the Inquisitor, some of the headlines here: 70% of Accra's waste is collected and 30% uncollected, and that's by Zoom Lion. For defendant Cecilia Dapa, Domelevo flays Okujeto, expresses disappointment in AG. Noise pollution at Laboni. 355 Lounge still misbehaving. 355 Lounge seems to be on the news a lot over this noise thing.
Yeah.
Protozwa calls for active participation in EC's exercises.
All right, the Herald has these headlines. MPP comfortable with stolen biometric voter machines. Let's stop Akufo-Addo's Yenchendi government this year. Mahama speaking. McDan Group owner sees trouble for Ghana's economy with departure of foreign companies. Baumia exposes corruption ring inside ECG. Asante urges GMPC rejuvenation under new CEO.
All right, on the front page of the Daily Analyst, GNAAP, President calls for peaceful elections. Media blackout, GJA lifts ban on Yendi MP following an apology. Sosu honored with Outstanding Political Personality of the Year. Pilot phase of EVAT rakes in 384 million Ghana cedis in Ghana. And my goal is to have first blockchain-powered government in Africa. And that's by Dr. Muhammadu Baumia. Smuggling scandal at Ghana-Togo border. GIS, SEPS officers fingered.
All right. Is that your final paper?
Nope. Two more.
Okay. So the ABC News says, Dr. Baumia targets Digital Ghana scholarships with persons with disability. MPP hits back at pessimistic NDC. UPSA appoints Prof. John Mauto as next Vice Chancellor, and MPP loyal ladies, we have not declared stance on who partners Dr. Baumia for Victory 2024.
All right, on the front page of the New Independent, Alan attacks Baumia over NPP's propaganda policies. Sustain the good works of expectations of government, Asante Hene tells Finance Minister. And on the front page of the Catholic Standard, learn, practice true motherhood as divine calling. Editorial, a quest for transparent, free, fair, and peaceful elections. Restore Ghana to former glory, and that's by Bishop Louise.
All right, my final paper here is the Daily Searchlight. It says, is he eligible to contest 2024 or not? Supreme Court to decide on John Mahama's fate. Okay, the story is there. You should go check it out. Attorney General calls for full media coverage of cases on human rights and family values. Bill 2024. Now, my goal is for Ghana to have the first blockchain-powered government in Africa, Dr. Baumia speaking. And looting of state lands in Wa to end is a question that's being asked. Mr. Promiser Baumia with more wild promises to turn universities into mining companies, to buy caterpillars for miners. Okay, so there's a story there on the Daily Searchlight. You can go check it out. All right, now let me just quickly read a bit of this story here on the Daily Graphic. It says here, men account for 60% of deaths, blood pressure, heart failure, and stroke to blame. Now, six out of every, and a story by Donald Depatem, 6 out of every 10 deaths, representing 60.3% of all deaths registered in the country in 2022, were males. Now, on the flip side, 343,913 male births, constituting 50.3% of all births, and 333,227 females, representing 49.2% of all births, were registered, giving the sex ratio of 103 men per every 100 females in 2022. Now, the highest proportion of registered infants, and the story goes on here about infants, but I want to read about the deaths, all right? Now, according to Births and Deaths Registrations Statistical Report for 2022, 36.7% of all registered deaths were caused by top 11 causes of death. Here what they are. These are hypertension, which is representing 36.7%, followed by pneumonia, heart failure, acute respiratory failure, stroke, diabetes, severe sepsis, which is blood poisoning, septic shock, chronic liver disease, cancer, and cardiovascular diseases. Now, apart from cancer, which claim more female lives, 566 as against 470 men, all the remaining diseases killed more men than women. The report is quite extensive. The story is also quite extensive. Grab a copy of the Daily Graphic and get into it. Of course, you can also go to citinewsroom.com for all your credible news updates as well. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we're back, there's a lot more this morning